like sucking.
But I ain't gay.
Legit bad podcast.
Fuck those honkies.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
He really knows how to suck a wiener.
All right, welcome back to Legit Bat. We are finally on because all these fucks are late today, but that's fine. Ben isn't here. Cretched was here like 15 minutes ago. It was all on Chris, but it's fine. Boobs was here too. So to introduce the guests before we get going, we have Cretched from OBDM, the god of fuck.
I am the god of fuck.
See, told you.
I don't ever remember saying that.
Well, we have it forever in our
That was
soundboard.
AI. So that's been fake, deep fake.
I will have to actually do that. And then we have Skidmark, aka Sir Seat Sitter, aka Chris from Abs in a Six Pack. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? It's good to be back.
Yes, sir. It's been a while. And last but not least, we got Boobs, aka Boobury from Behind the Sch3m3s. What's up, buddy?
How's it going? Doing well. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Some complimentary Palo Santo for everybody. Oh yeah.
Does that get you high?
I wish.
Well, there's other things that can do that just as well, so it's fine. So we wanted to do this mainly because we've been trying to schedule guests again. It's been a while, as you all know. And Skidmark called into our favorite show, OBDM, a couple weeks ago and the calls are usually, in Cretched's mind, best under about 45 seconds. This one went a little longer.
Too long.
Yes. Wrap it up.
I agree. I'm right there with you, Cretched. As I'm listening, I'm like, okay, stop.
I can
you
see
made your point. Get
Well,
out
if it goes too long, you can see Cretched's eyelids start to twitch, and then he starts looking up GIFs and everything, and
I
it
just
gets bad.
push this button, and you just can't tell what I'm doing.
Oh, weird! He froze. How did you do that?
You hit the other button. It's freeze.
I think
Oh.
Chris had the
Freeze frame.
dumpster fire gif going while I was talking on that call. Yeah, probably.
No, it was a great call. So I wanted to kick it off with that. And we can get into whatever you guys have. If you have articles or anything, but I liked where your call was going, and it fits our show very well. Why don't you kind of, if you remember what you talked about, kind of go into that? Because you started out by saying like consciousness and the nature of reality. You either sound like a fucking retard when you talk about it, or you just kind of talk in circles. And we've talked about it a lot.
I think I did both.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm guessing we sounded more like retards than anything else, but we like talking about it. So if you remember, or if you just want to riff on that, how did you start that?
I think I just made it up as I went. No, well,
We all do.
it's oh god, yeah, it's one of the, how do you start off on that? I think what triggered me to make that call was I heard Mike talking about something along the lines of, Mike was talking about the globalists. They have essentially an idea that we live in a simulation, so they're just shot. I have a shot collar on. That's a long story. But I think his premise was the globalists have a really good idea of that this is a simulation or some kind of test, and so they're just trying to break the barriers and running all kinds of crazy experiments on people to see what works. Was, I believe, what Mike said.
So that's kind of my takeaway from it, is you were basically saying the globalists are right in their own way. And we've kind of argued that too, but not the way people would think. We're not saying they're right, but I get what you're saying. Like they've kind of got the same idea, but they're just going about it in a crazy genocidal manner. So so Jen had some points she was bringing about last night, though, the how everybody's kind of coming to the same conclusion that everything is kind of one. And that seems cheesy, and you sound like a retard when you say it. But if you think about it and like extrapolate out from that it does make sense in a certain frame of reference. So
Well, it's by design, I think. I think we are born as individuals. Obviously, we are, but we're born to not even think of another person as possibly being part of us because we are separate from them. So that concept is right out the gate completely ridiculous to even think about. And then it's also by design to be able to talk about it sounds retarded. I mean, for lack of a better word, because they want you to not they, or maybe the universe or whatever we're in wants us to be individuals because there's some sort of game that we're playing or There's something we have to do where we have to achieve a certain goal as an individual, maybe.
We're not all born as individuals because you have to rule it. You're ruling out Siamese twins in that calculation.
They still are separate, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Together,
They still
but
have their own
separate.
brain. Yeah.
I mean, there's-
I believe that term is outdated. It's actually
What's the
Thailand
it's probably
twins.
offensive.
Highland
Oh.
twins? Is it?
Siam doesn't exist anymore. That was a geography joke.
What do they call Siamese cats?
Cats.
Asian cats.
Terrible creatures.
No, there's that story about that the Siamese twins. I don't know if it's true. It was on a meme, so it's probably true. But there was like two Siamese twins that were sharing an ass, and only one of them was gay.
Oh,
Is that a true story? 'Cause
Well,
that's
if you
fucked up.
if you read it on the internet, there's a high chance that
I'm
it
gonna
was
need
probably
a Venn
accurate.
diagram for that. I can't follow.
there's the two girls that have their show, and they just have two heads and one body, and one of the girls has a boyfriend and the other doesn't. So
What's the name of their show? One Cup?
Do they share vaginas though?
yes.
Oh, well, you're in it for the ride, sister. Sorry.
Do they trade?
I'm sure
off?
she
What the
doesn't
hell?
mind. She doesn't have to do anything. She just lays there and has zero.
She's
to
like, I'm
participate in
totally
the
not into
relationship.
this.
Just describing a lot of women there. But
I think one thing I was trying to get across on that call to OBDM was that I probably didn't articulate well was the idea that the lost history, whether it goes back to, I think I did bring up Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. Like how far back does that go was the essential question I was kind of getting to, and if there is hidden knowledge about how far back our species has been rising and falling technologically and everything, and if there is a higher ascension point humans can get to on another dimensional plane, and the globalists know this. That was my main, the crux of it was if we've been stuck doing the same thing over and over and over and it's not working, then maybe there's some when you start trying crazy things and a bunch of people get killed in the process, it might not be that bad of a thing if it's for a greater good, quote unquote.
I mean, most of us agree that history is pretty much not, I wouldn't say completely fabricated, but a lot of it. And we're led to believe certain things and certain dates and certain people, and nobody's there to really prove it out. You know, I don't really believe much after like the 1900s. And, or before the 1900s or after, really, but like before that, like how do you prove out like what happened 2000 fucking years ago? Carbon dating, sure, whatever. Science, that's about it. But to think that there is some kind of way that these people know about what happened thousands of years ago and what's happened over and over and over again, it seems to make sense to me. Like everything else is cyclical. So why wouldn't that be as well? Like why wouldn't the same shit happen over and over?
I'm
Same
fairly
with,
certain. I'm fairly
go ahead.
certain we're like 23 iterations deep through this shit.
Probably 33 at this point.
Yeah, the deja vu thing is a big factor that I don't underestimate.
Mm-hmm.
It could be explained away through other things, but
You want to explain your deja vu?
What do you think deja vu is? No, I want to hear his. What do you think it is?
man, that's it all comes down to going back to everything is one is the collective how much stored DNA. Well, you could answer that so many different ways. With genetic memory, how much of your ancestors doing that, doing similar things, leads to your genetic memory and causes deja vu, or is it like Jim Morrison said, we're all a part of the cosmic movie? That means the day you die, you have to live your whole life over and over and over again. So you better have some interesting things happen in it. I think was what he said. But
whole ass Groundhog's Day.
Deja vu is like some wild stuff. But whatever it is, it seems so significant when it hits you in the right way that it has to be something. To me, it has to be something more profound than just some kind of weird brain tick, I guess.
And to piggyback off of that, the genetic memory, I've heard ideas postulated that that's where phobias come from, that somewhere in the lineage there was, someone that got bitten by a snake, and that travels on through, and that's what makes people just so deathly afraid of, spiders, snakes, what have you.
Then you should be afraid of other humans quite a bit too, if that's the case.
I think we are. I really think we are.
I'm scared of Cretched, but I do want to hear from Cretched on this type of shit because we hardly ever hear him speak on the weird esoteric, nature of reality type shit. Like, what's your opinion on all this shit? Is it just hooey, or what do you think?
Well,
I'll let you
déjà vu.
chew.
I was at the grocery store yesterday, and it's early September, which means now it's Halloween candy time. So
And pumpkin
I
spice.
got candy corn. No, fuck pumpkin spice.
Are you seriously eating candy corn?
I'm candy corn.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Candy corn's the shit. Oh my gosh. I think Cretched might be the only person I know who likes candy corn
original
too.
candy corn from 1927. They made it all then.
It's still
Delicious.
good. You know why it's still
So good.
good is because it's fucking wax.
I don't know.
Delicious.
What's in this? Let me look it up. Sugar and
Carnauba
shit.
wax or whatever, and artificial coloring. You nasty bitch.
What do you think deja vu is, Cretched?
Deja vu is misfiring synapses in your brain.
You're going full science.
No, that's what it is. You always see deja vu if you think about it. When it happens, it's in a matter of seconds, if less than, when you experience it, go, whoa, that was deja vu. Because it just happened in your brain and your ocular nerve picked it up and then spat it back, and that's what happens. So
It does make sense from that perspective. I mean, like, I get it. Like, I've had it several times, and I'm like, why do I remember doing this already? Maybe I did. I don't
And
know.
keep in mind, deja vu is usually most accepted, very specific to a very short time frame. It's different from premonition. It's different from like future sight. That's a very different sort of phenomenon. And so I think people will often conflate that, and they'll talk about, I've been having visions of this sort of scenario for years. I'm like, that's different. That's not deja vu. Deja vu is like, wait, I just did this and I'm doing it again. What's going on? It's because your brain misfired for a second. So
My brain
my
misfires all the time, so it checks out.
So when I was really little, I thought that deja vu, when I was, I think 12 or 13, I noticed that I had deja vu a lot, and it was really mundane. I'd be walking down the hall talking to my sister or something stupid, and I would have deja vu for a few seconds. So Cretched's theory completely makes sense. But then something insane would happen after that, maybe hours later, or maybe the next day. And then I thought, and this is just a theory, as a child, I thought maybe if we live our lives over and over again, we have the ability to pinpoint certain points in our life. If just for a moment, we don't get a big clue, but the clue is, hey, this happened before, or this is really weird, but it has to be during a mundane time. And it's a clue that something really big is coming, and you're going to have a choice to make, or something, you're going to have to do something that's really important.
A
soon.
pivotal moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I was little when I had that thought. So I don't know. I'm not saying that's exactly what it is, but
no, see, that's because you're letting the shadow people into your house and they're whispering to you at night.
Shadow people do exist. That's very much a real thing. I've seen
Yeah,
them.
hey, who knows?
Yeah.
Shadow people, by the way, that whole concept, that whole phenomenon, what do you want to call it? That is some of the most just like mentally fucked up shit out there, as far as just like there's something I can't quite see, because we get, you get the eye worms and eye boogers and stuff that mess with what you're seeing, and you turn, you're like, did I see something? Did it move? And then you're forever on edge about like what was over there, what's going on in that room over there. Let me go turn on the lights in the hallway for no reason, and yeah, that stuff messes with you.
Oh yeah, and I love hearing those stories. And like Mike, when he covers Bigfoot, I've told everyone on our show I don't give a flying fuck about Bigfoot, but it's fun to hear the stories, especially the ones where they're like, he was psychic and then we had sex and he has a huge dick, and it's like, this is a great story. Like, you should make it into a movie. I would watch that, but I don't believe you for a second. But so what?
And you guys live in Bigfoot country, by the way.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
It makes it so much less believable because of where we live.
Not that I'm out in the wilderness all that often, but like I have been. I've
But
been
there's
hunting.
like Bigfoot rafting an hour away. There's Bigfoot everything in the mountains.
It's almost a marketing
It's
thing
just a
at this
tourist
point.
thing. Yeah.
Most of those female rafting guys kind of are hairier than Bigfoot, I've noticed.
They can.
It's because they've been mating with
Yeah.
Bigfoot. Come on.
Yeah. Now, here's how you I was kind of curious to hear Cretched's take on a lot of this stuff too, and here's how you nail them. Here's how you just kind of pin them down. Just get a direct yes or no.
No.
Cretched, do you believe in an afterlife, and what are your thoughts on it?
In an afterlife.
Or reincarnation. That was going to be my next thing. Thanks, Chris.
That would count.
Well, those are, to me, those are two different things. Here's my favorite concept of any sort of life after death moment and whatever that might involve. The 1991 film, what the hell is it called? With Albert Brooks. I'm drawing a blank now. I'm not gonna look it up. Crap.
Oh, how do you not know? We got to Google. We gotta ask ChatGPT. Hang on.
I was just thinking of it, and then
You're so good on your toes with this shit, man.
yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, you bet
1991.
your life, but that was
Which one was it?
Defending Your
1991 what?
Life. I was close.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say You Bet Your Life, but that's the old game show. So Defending Your Life with Albert Brooks. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended. It's about somebody who dies and has to reflect upon his life. Was he a good person or not? And the fundamental crux of the film is, if you have not been a good enough person, if you've not gotten enough points towards whatever that next level of existence is, you're sent back. And you have to go back until you basically earn it to move forward. Now, whether or not that aligns with a Judeo-Christian ideology or any sort of kind of a notion of general reincarnation, I think it's broad enough and non-specific enough that it applies to a lot of that. And it's just fantastically done from the standpoint of, it's not purgatory, it's not heaven, but you can go back and you can read the Divine Comedy, and it talks about this sort of concept that you have to kind of earn your way to the next level of existence. And that is, that level of existence just another plane, or is that what we would call paradise or heaven, or do you have to go back and repeat to atone for sins, or just being a milquetoast individual who is, if it's too hot, I spit you out. If you're too cold, I spit you out. If you're lukewarm, it's just, there's a lot of that sort of theology in there. And to me, that makes the most kind of logical sense as far as how what we call this plane of existence is structured and what might be above or below that, as far as just a general overall like umbrella theory to it. Because there's good throwaway lines in there, which someone comments they're in this like purgatory. I don't want to spoil it if people haven't seen it, because it's a fantastic film. They say, I don't see any kids around. Why are there no kids here? And they say, oh, kids move on automatically. Kids, if you die as a child, you're bumped up. And I'm thinking, well, how old's a child? Then we get into that, like, try it as an adult sort of thing. But it is an interesting idea to say, yeah, a 6-year-old is not an evil person in any way. Their brain is not formed enough to have
Some
made
of them are. I've
to
met
made
them.
those decisions. So if they die at that age, they just get moved on to the next plane of existence as is. Now, that person also could have just been blowing smoke and said, no, they've got their own McDonald's Playland purgatory over here, and we send them back because they're a bunch of bastards. But anyway, I like the general concept of the film, and that probably most closely aligns with how I like to think of multiple planes of existence, or call it an afterlife, call it reincarnation, call it paradise or heaven, however you want to structure that. So
that's so I haven't seen it. I need to check that out. But so
go
it sounds
watch
like
it
that
now.
hinges
Stop.
on. Okay.
Yeah, stop watching this.
What the hell
Dog
is that
collar.
tied to?
Yes, I love this so much, and I want one.
Is that Boobury doing that?
I need
No,
it.
so if I say the word like, I get shocked. Gix to set that up for me.
So good.
Oh my god.
So
What an
fucking good.
ass.
Yeah,
He's so
now,
good at-
well, I was gonna say, that the premise of that movie seems like it hinges on the idea of the individual, unique soul, and rather than a collective soul of the human race. Fuck.
You fucking cocks.
I mean, yes, they are there as individuals, hence the title Defending Your Life. But it is very much about the collective social consciousness, if you want to call it that, and what makes a good and reasonable person. I mean, they celebrate somebody who was, feeding the homeless or rescuing people from a fire or whatever, and they look down upon somebody who is simply, he wasn't evil, he wasn't good, or he was very, very middle of the road, but was fundamentally driven by fear, and he was afraid in social scenarios to live up to his potential. And they said, just because of that, you're not living up to what you could be, and society's driving that. So we're going to turn you around, and you have to go do it all over again. We'll see you again in another 60 years.
Right, and that comes down to what somebody else's definition of what you could be is. And I mean, not that you should, I think you should decide what you can be and what you should be, but if somebody else is saying what you should or shouldn't be, or how much potential you could have, I don't see that as a barrier to the next dimension. Like, who's deciding that? Then we get into the concept of God or the master program, or whatever. So which religion do we go with? Which one's the right one? Like, is it Buddha or Jesus?
I know which one it is. I'm just not going to tell anybody.
Oh, Oh wait, you have to join his $3,000 Patreon to find out.
Yeah, send me some satoshis and we'll talk.
Well, what do you think about
Well,
the idea
you
of?
would-
Oh, go ahead, boobs.
Well, you would need a wallet for that first, but yeah. I think it's
Oh,
a great
Boobury
idea.
can hook
Send
you
the
up.
magic
Yeah.
money somehow. I don't send it to Boobury, who will exchange it, turn it into cash and send it.
Send it
Cretched is going to
psychically
run
to
for president,
Boobury.
and his running platform is, I'm going to give you the first half of this chili recipe, but once I'm elected, then you get the other half.
I'm gonna leave out the real ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have any of you? I guess this is an open-ended question to all of you. Have you ever had the life in review, whether it was from like a near-death experience or ego death, or?
Not yet.
'Cause I
Not
have
me
big
myself.
My fear is I have, and it was boring, and I missed it.
Oh, he was lukewarm. He was milk toast. Ah.
May have changed the channel.
Have you? You said you have.
Oh yeah. What boobs have you had like the life flash before your eyes, like
I have
in
not.
a literal sense?
I have not.
Wow. Okay.
We can make
it's
it
long
happen.
enough that
Yes. I'm game. Let's do it.
the statute of limitations is over on this, and I've already told the story with Ping Trip on my show, but just to be, I won't go through the whole long escapade of it, but the first time I did acid, I did way too much acid, and I didn't know anything about acid other than what somebody told me, which was, oh yeah, you can see dubstep and you can taste colors by looking at them. It's like, oh, that's yeah,
Trippy,
so
bro.
Like, yeah. I didn't understand the philosophical implications of what I was.
You
what I
didn't
was
say
getting
it
into.
there. What was that?
I don't know. Let's see.
I think they're just doing it when he talks now.
It says I did.
And
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
listen.
Yix wrote the software. But so it's started off. I saw a nug of weed kind of crawl on the table as a caterpillar. I saw all the stars like red lasers dashing in between them, and the moon suddenly grew and took up the whole entire sky. I did say that at that time, and so it all became very overwhelming for somebody that wasn't prepared for that. I pretty much went into a room, like felt like I couldn't breathe, thought I was dying, and I was like, oh, I don't know, and kind of like the Gandalf. I was compared to the Gandalf.
Heard it.
When he fights the Balrog and flies through 1,000 lifetimes through cyberspace. That's what it was. And I've witnessed my birth to death of my entire life. Now it's just shocking. Fuck. And now I witnessed my birth to death life, but from the perspective of everyone I interacted with, looking through their eyes, seeing me, feeling their feelings for what felt like an eternity, until all the good, all the bad I ever did, essentially. And then just kind of came to terms with the fact that I wasn't a worthy human being and got shot out into, and then as soon as I guess you could call it like a redemption or repental or whatever, but just kind of blasted through just a kaleidoscope of colors into just the most real, such a real dimension that it felt like what everything I had lived up to before then was kind of like the like Mike was saying, like a movie or
like
a
fake. Like,
yeah,
we've heard that a lot with psychedelic encounters, is that what they saw was more real than what you know to be real, more colors. And I don't know what that's like. I've never gone that deep with it, but
more real emotions than it's just looking back on it. It was like, oh, this was all a test I was a part of. And then I was able to zoom out. By this point I had what it felt like lifetimes and lifetimes. I was just going through my whole life review. But by that point, I was able to just zoom out and see the entire, just the entire Earth, and for what was an eternity, just zoom in and become any plant, any animal. I didn't believe in reincarnation at all. This, and you could easily, it's easily, my subjective experience, but I had no frame of reference for any of this experience at the time. And
go ahead, shock that fucker.
Yeah. After that, I started doing some digging and was like, oh, I'm not crazy. This has been an experience throughout for thousands of years across the world that people have had, whether it was through sacramental ayahuasca and mushroom use, or just from people that die in hospitals and come back. So I don't know.
Boop, boop, beep,
I can't prove any of it's real, but it's definitely shaped a lot of my philosophy.
What do you think about that, Cretched? What do you think with the psychedelics? Is that synapses and stuff too, or is there something else? Because I know Mike's talked about DMT and other psychedelics where people see the same shit. Is it just because it's the same chemical? Like, is that what
I think
your
there's
view
two
is?
things there. One is it fundamentally it is messing with your brain chemicals. So it is, which is doing what it's doing. It's a psychedelic. It is breaking how your brain is working even in short bursts. What people see, what they experience, is often based on what others have described or what they have seen themselves, or it's described in in relation to a movie or a comic drawing or artwork or something, because they have to put it in some sort of frame of reference. But in some cases, people see that because that's what they're expecting to see. So
Yeah, there's a word for that too. Pareidolia, I think it's what it's called.
isn't that where you have you're afraid of holes in things? Is that?
No, I think it's where you're looking for something in the clouds and you see it because your brain makes you see it. And I think a lot of things, even like deja vu, might be something like pareidolia, but
Numerology. It's definitely
numerology is
pareidolia.
pareidolia. Yeah. So what do you think about the possibility that maybe there are other dimensions happening all around us at the same time?
Oh,
and
I love the multidimensional theory. I've said this on the show multiple times. I am 100% on board with that concept of multiple planes of reality, whether it's based on different dimensions or things moving at different vibrations, and I like that way better than it's bleep bloop coming from 82 kajillion light years away. It's like, no, they're here right now. You just can't interact with them because they're on a different plane of existence.
You just need the they live glasses. So, Cretched, do you think it's possible then that I guess I think you have said this on the show, but do you think it's possible that psychedelics allow you to access those other dimensions?
It's possible. I think the closest we get is the discussion about the clockwork elves and DMT and people who have had direct interactions with them, or when they're out in nature, they're out in the woods, and they describe them coming out of the woods, just kind of appearing as if they're just outside the circle of light produced by the campfire or something. That's possible. I mean, I'm more on board with that than they flew down and landed their freaking hubcap of a spaceship on the other side of the barn, and they came around to jerk off your cows or something like that.
And it's always with rednecks and farmers and stuff too. And the explanation for that is nobody's gonna believe these hick rednecks when they say some little green men came off and jerked their chickens off.
Well, typically those hick people don't even want to talk about it, if that's the truth.
By the way, little known OBDM fact, that's where Sir Seat Sitter got his OBDM nickname of Chris number 23, because we kept getting calls from Chris's in the southern U.S. talking about UFOs, and I was upset that no one was going out and just shooting at them.
You'd think somebody would have by now.
Bit about that, like a lot of us came armed.
What the hell? Just take some
it's
pot
like
shots.
we didn't want to get abducted, and Bill Hicks is looking around. I think he's in Fife, Alabama. He's like, well, maybe we'll get lucky, and it's just a sterility and dentistry program that the aliens are doing.
Yeah,
God,
it's
I
free
hope
healthcare.
I hope there's dental hygienists in other dimensions.
Yeah.
Fingers
By the
crossed.
way, I always come armed.
Yeah, I always come.
Armed. So yeah, Boobury, we haven't heard much from you besides the fucking shot caller. What do you got to say about all this crazy shit?
Well, I certainly don't think that it's just psychedelics that open certain doors. I mean, it's called spirits for a reason, right? There was that Iron Man comic arc called Demons in the Bottle. I can personally attest to alcoholism, and there is stuff that will attach itself to you through that method, and it's all just about like really depressing your essence to the point where it makes your membrane, your like just soul membrane, really mushy, and things can kind of leach in, and you have a lot of demons of self-doubt and just a lot of hatred for yourself and things like that. And I do find it to be supernatural. I think I have had supernatural experiences while being just, drunk out of my fucking gourd.
We all have. We just don't remember them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. When you black out, your mind is saying, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. My body can't handle, or I can't handle what my body is doing at the moment, and something else takes over and is, in charge of the steering wheel essentially for you.
It's like leaving your car running with all the windows down in the middle of a bad area and just walking away.
Well, not even. It's getting in the passenger seat and taking a nap.
Okay, yeah.
You guys keep making a lot of driving references to drinking, and I just want to point out that's probably not a great thing.
Well, my
We
grandmother
don't
was
condone drinking and driving.
yeah, my grandmother was beheaded in an accident, so I totally get it, man. It's
I drunk better when I drive.
yeah, so seat sitters showing up playing Gavin McInnes while why junk driving should be allowed clips. It's good
If
times.
you're not driving with at least 8 beers in you, I don't know what the hell you're doing.
You pussy.
Yeah.
What a built tolerance.
But I think that extends, to psychedelic. I think it extends to a lot of stuff. Anything that alters your perceptions is opening you to one thing or another. I would include meditation in that. I would include, just anything that's putting you in a different frame of mind. Watching the TV. I full-heartedly believe that there's demons that come through the TV screens, whatever you want to call it.
The Black Mirrors.
Yeah.
Our
Definitely has the
mutual
effect
friend
of-
Fletcher
Go ahead.
has a crazy story about his group of friends meditating around the crystals. Have you heard that?
Like crystal meth?
That and quartz.
Just something coming out of the freaking sky, like a giant black figure that was blacker than black, just like doing a beeline out of the sky and landing on a
Isn't that from Harry Potter?
Electric transformer. I don't know if you heard that story he told on my show, but dude, that's haunted me to this day. The story he tells about that, because I believe him.
Sounds like Mothman.
It does sound like Mothman. That's what I was thinking too. What happened? Can you give us a little taste of the story and
Without saying
Without
like,
spoiling
for the
it.
love of God.
just say similar?
Uh,
I'm about to mute Boobury.
It's not me. It's on Chris's side.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
The-
Come on,
the
man.
nutshell version is they were doing a meditation exercise around a bunch of crystals, and some big giant, just blacker than the night sky figure just
Racist.
came in, started running at them, landed on a power transformer, hovered up there, and then jumped off and started running at them. They ran inside the house. All the ceiling fans were just spinning as fast as they could, like with no they couldn't turn the
brakes on
fans
this car.
off. Yeah, and they finally one of them, I think it was Fletcher, said he yelled, just "God damn it, stop it!" or "Get out of here," something. And just all of a sudden the thing was gone. All the ceiling fans stopped. The doors stopped slamming open and shut in the house. And
So you don't even have to
later-
say Jesus be gone. You can just say God damn it, be gone. Seems
well, that might have worked
sacrilegious.
better, because all those people, from what I remember him saying, I know for sure him and all those other people, from what I remember, but for sure him, throughout the rest of his life, it would appear, and he would know it was there just by a feeling, like hair standing up on his neck, and he'd turn around and be there behind him, following him around.
I think I actually have a sound drop from that occasion.
Put it in my mouth.
Is that what happened? They put the penis in the mouth?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I believe, and it goes back to the shadow people thing we were talking about. I know independently, people that don't talk about the type of things that we talk about, that don't pontificate at all like we do, independent of each other. A lot of people that work third shift and do speed, like Adderall or whatever. Ow. I'm gonna have to take this thing off. It's too distracting. A lot of them, independent of each other, have told me about shadow people and whispering similar things, and always seeing them, and it's always about 2 to 4 days of sleep deprivation. The shadow people kick in, and that could be something that's not supernatural. The skeptic would say that's just a part of human psychology, that somehow our brains have evolved to have that those anomalies happen after a lack of
Man-
sleep, but I think there's a little more to it. I think there's a lot of ways, like you were saying, Boobs, of opening different dimensions, and sleep deprivation is definitely one of them.
The one unifying thing that I really came to recognize and respect to a degree, because it's across the entire United States, is just the people that are out on the streets, homeless, by their own volition or by their own circumstances. And I have come across people that you could not convince me otherwise that they were not possessed. And I mean that fully, that I have heard just some of the most guttural screams coming from people in like Toronto, and that was
Oh,
more
that's just
recent. That was
Canadians.
that was like 2019 December.
Did their heads
I-
spin around though?
Just with the rage.
It comes in half. The Canadians can split their heads in half.
Oh, right.
But
I'm not
the-
your buddy,
I've
guy.
run into some people that I think that goes both ways. I think I've either met angels or people that had some really divine entities around them.
I had an angel laugh in my hotel room one time. That kind of tripped me up. I wasn't freaked out per se, but it
I
was
need to hear
pretty
this
spooky.
story. What happened?
So, yeah, tell us that story. And I want to hear Cretch's response on like this kind of paranormal ish, which I think is all the same thing as UFOs and Bigfoot, as our listeners know. But
Mhm.
tell that story, and then Cretched, I want your rebuttal to this as a science
Why do I
guy.
have to rebut? How can I rebut something I haven't heard yet?
After he tells it, then you can
Oh, okay.
rebut it. Yeah.
Deboomed.
Pre-boonk it.
This was in 2000 and I guess 19. I was on tour. We were in Las Vegas. I was in a pretty depressed state. Just having a hard time keeping up with stuff. Was not taking care of my body nor my mind, and I had tried to. Las Vegas, in and of itself, is a very creepy town. I always feel like it's the Disneyland of death. Like you stand there in Vegas, and you feel like you're surrounded by a graveyard for some reason.
Our buddy Darren from Grimerica says it's like being on the inside of a tablet, which makes complete sense. That's what it's like.
And I had made the mistake of trying to do some meditation and quasi scrying work using a TV screen, which I would not recommend. Just no image. It was not turned on. I just used the actual black mirror that it was, and
Yeah, don't do that. Good Lord.
it was intense, man. Like by the time I had kind of cracked through the blockages and like had really just connected to what was on the other side, it's cliched, but it was like, have you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World? And at the end of the movie, he's supposed to confront Nega Scott, the evil version of himself. Just that sort of imagery, the white skin, the sunken eyes, the sort of the atrophied skin. It was intense, and I just kind of came face to face with what my mental state was at that time through the TV screen. And this is Vegas, so there's people coming and going through the hotel room at all hours of the night. It is nonstop. The doors are not springed in the way that they'll kind of like slowly close shut. They'll just slam shut. So you can hear when people are coming and going in the room through the hallway. You can hear the elevator.
Not to
And-
mention a fuckload of EMFs going every which way. It's a soup down there.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys need to stay in nicer hotels.
Well,
That's off the strip.
I think we were staying at the Golden Nugget that time. But
I bet the nicest hotels have the most overdoses.
Yeah, but they're discreet. Discreet.
Well, they have the
overdose.
best drugs, so probably
They go put themselves outside the door of the room first.
they get picked up by room service first thing in the morning.
Yep, come by before you're up. Take them out.
Dustpan.
Put them in the dumpster.
Anyway,
Roll 'em
sorry,
out.
boobs. We interrupted. Go ahead.
but after and the actual time, like what time it was, escapes me. I want to say it was like 12:33. It it had that sort of you look at a clock and it's always 11:11 or 3:33, so on and so forth. I kind of disconnected from that television, was trying to bring myself back to the real world, whatever this is. And at that moment, when I looked at the clock, there was a disembodied laugh in the room that was with me. There was no door slamming. There was no, the elevator, didn't fire off. And it wasn't like a laugh of malice, but it wasn't like a laugh of joy either, if that makes any sense.
Were you on any substances at this point?
That night, no. But I mean, I was kind of at the point where like every night a week, going out, fucking getting hammered, so on and so forth. So
See, I'm more inclined to believe it. If it was just alcohol or something, I believe it. I've been drunk a lot all the time, so I get that. I never hallucinate while had been drunken, like ever. That doesn't happen when you're drunk. Maybe you see tracers where things are blurry, but you don't see shit that's not there or hear shit that's not there. So
I mean, I constantly am catching things though. I don't know what it is, but I always just have the sensation that there's something floating nearby. Maybe I'm losing my mind. That is also
Did the
highly
laugh,
possible.
Did the laugh sound like this at all? Just one.
It was similar. I'm thinking more so.
That's the disembodied. There you go.
oh, Cretched was in his hotel room.
I am the god of fuck.
He was
Yeah,
looking
I
to
am.
get some, bro.
No, I was announcing myself. I am apparently the god of fuck. So yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna take that one too. Thank you.
Murder, 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 murder.
No, so I didn't want you to rebut
did I
it
say
as much
that?
as.
I
Whoa,
don't know.
which one was that? Play it again.
Murder, 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 murder.
Wow. He
Got
says a
deep
lot of
into
things he
it.
doesn't remember, kind of like us. No, so I didn't want you to rebut that specific story. What do you think about like the correlation between different dimensions and demonic contact and things like that that you can't explain? Like you were talking about earlier with shadow people, or there's all kinds of like the old hag, sleep paralysis, all this stuff. Is that all
Oh,
just
ran into
aspects
her.
of your mind or what?
No, I think I like the concept of you are able to start to find areas where the space between dimensions is thinner. I like that the concept of being able to, for lack of a better term, project yourself or at least attune yourself to be able to start to see that stuff. What you're seeing are glimpses, bits and pieces. It doesn't make sense, so your brain's not able to wrap around. So you have to couch those experiences in something with which you are familiar. Now, in more recent years, that has to do with fiction, our experience with fiction, television, movies, etc. So we use that frame of reference, but I don't have any problem with those concepts. My biggest issue with that story was somehow Boobury was scrying into what I presume is a flat panel television, which are nowhere near reflective enough to really just start to warp your brain. So I don't know how well that works compared to the old CRTs, but I would think you'd want a more reflective surface so you could start to see stuff behind you.
Yeah, if anybody wants to
But-
go out there and try that with a CRT, let me know how it goes.
Well,
in
you got to
Vegas.
understand, in a dark room,
Pretty cool
if you're
race
sitting
day.
if you're sitting there for an hour and a half, your eyes are going to acclimate, and I can turn off my monitors and still see. I mean, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at, is that yes, to look at one of these more modern monitors, yes, it is a blurry image, but as you sit there in the dark and you're focusing on that and getting yourself into that meditative space, that image starts to form more clearly.
But wouldn't it make more sense to like go sit in the hotel bathroom and use the mirror? I'm just curious.
I think it has more to do with your state of mind than what you're looking at. Because I know there's a lot of people that will scry into basically, I think it's more of a focal point type of thing from what I've heard. It's not necessarily what you're looking at. It's more of focusing on one thing. Like people will do that with a candle flame. And that's not
Mhm.
reflective at all. And they'll scry into a candle flame and see crazy shit. So I don't know if it has to
What
do with
about
optics
water?
or
Can't you look at your reflection in water?
I don't want to do that. I don't want
That's
to look
just
at my
mysticism.
reflection.
I
Yeah.
just assume that's where the term "scry me a river" comes from.
You're mishearing
Possibly.
things again.
Okay,
How
You're
long
on
have you been
drugs,
waiting to
Chris.
squeeze that one out?
like a fart.
Oh,
Holding
like
it
a
in there
fart?
for the right moment.
Oh, good for you, buddy. But yeah, do you have anything more to say on that, or should we just move on to stupid news? Do you have any stupid news, Cretched? I know you're filled to the brim with
I
it.
have a lot of stupid news, but I'm saving it. Yeah, I don't know. I routinely have probably 2 to 3 times the amount of stories we ever get to on a given show. So sometimes they're useful to have to go back to depending on what the topic is. So
Just pick
Shout
the
out,
worst one that you have, so that you know you'll never use it on OBDM.
yeah, one that Mike won't like pick and then be like,
What the fuck?
when you used it on our show and not yours.
all right, well, let me see what I got.
You gotta get into the carrot shop.
Ah!
It's not in the carrot shop. It's not where they are.
Oh, okay.
Well, I got a good one here for this. This one I picked just for Mike for next one, but let's see.
We won't tell anybody. I won't tell Mike.
What the heck's going on around
All
here?
right, here's one. Well, okay, let's use this one. Did I don't know? Did you guys discuss the diarrhea airplane story?
No.
No, please do tell.
It's even this one is a little much for OBDM, but tell you what.
Oh,
let me
nothing's too much for us. We only have like 2 people that hate those stories, and fuck them.
All right, let me put this into the Zoom chat. There you go.
Oh, that is the poor man's carrot shop. Yes, I got it. All right.
Is
And
it
then I have a
chop or
follow-
shop? Is it CHOP or SHOP?
It's CHOPPE. No, it's shop as a place you go to take things and not without paying for them if you live in. San
I always
Francisco.
heard it as chop, like carrot shop, like dicing a carrot.
Carrot chop?
That's what I
Carrot
always just
chop.
heard it as. I just assumed.
All right. So, yeah, I love this. I actually love this is why I love OBDM. I love talking about weird shit and then just going straight to this. A Delta flight diverted after passenger reportedly has diarrhea all the way through the airplane.
That's in quotes too.
That is in quotes. So a Delta Airlines flight from Atlanta, Georgia to Barcelona, Spain was diverted back to its original airport. Oh, Jesus. After a passenger experienced an onboard medical issue. Yeah, they're going to call it an onboard medical issue. We know what it is. The website flightradar24.com shows Delta flight DL194 is about 2 hours into its 8-hour flight when it turned around over Virginia. I was going to say vagina, and headed back to
Oh, that
Atlanta.
too.
A user on X, formerly known as Twitter,
Formerly known as
which is
Twitter.
fucking gay. I don't know if you know this, but that is a dumb fucking name.
Retarded faggots.
Who appears to
There
devote
goes the
his
YouTube
page. Oh, now I'm gonna put it on there anyway. I don't give a shit.
upload.
Who appears to devote his page to flight material. Nerd shared audio recorded from the Airbus A350 that was broadcast on liveatc.com. On the recording, a pilot tells air traffic control, "This is a biohazard issue." No shit, no pun intended. We've had a passenger who's had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.
You know why that is? It's because they don't let you fucking get up until you're like 3 hours into your flight. They're like, the pilot has said fasten seatbelts. This will remain on. Please do not get up.
Yeah, Jen had a problem with that. They were
I had
taxiing.
to pee so bad.
They're
I
not
had
even
like
taxiing.
I had like 7 beers right before my flight and
Just
on the
go,
plane
man.
too.
Just go.
Yeah.
I did. So I did right as we were about to take off. I'm like, I just have to pee. And I ran back there. This was like a week and a half ago. And as I opened the door, the flight attendants were in the jump seats and they're like, ma'am, sit down now. And I just slammed the door and I would just pretended that I didn't see them or hear
She
them.
took a quick tinkle.
And then I tried to pee and I just couldn't because I was terrified because they screamed at me. They screamed at me through the door, pounded on it. And then the pilot got on. And this is a huge full packed flight from Boston to San Francisco. And they're like, everyone get in your seats right now. It scared the shit out of me. So not literally,
Just the
but-
piss.
not the piss either. The piss stayed inside. So I just got up and just ran back to my seat. And then we immediately took off. So I was 100% holding up the plane. So this guy was probably too scared to take his shit. And then he had a biohazard issue all over the plane. I know exactly what
He
happened.
probably ate a Cinnabon right before the flight, and then they took off. It took way
They
too
just
long
need-
to
They
take
need to
off.
make you sign a waiver that says if you stand up and you have to take a piss or a shit while we are taking off and your head slams into the back and you die, oh well, sign a waiver.
Yeah.
I got pissed all over
suspect
the
it was-
toilet seat last time I was on a plane because there was turbulence while I was taking a leak.
Everyone pisses on the toilet seat. Good Lord.
I try to.
I suspect it had to do more with the cheap sushi he got at one of those not cafe, but the little like takeout places in the airport.
It's like the
Always-
gas
is there
station
a-
of the airport. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there audio from the pilots in this article that we can?
I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading,
Mayday,
but
mayday.
Actually, I do have a recording of this.
no,
I
you
believe
don't.
The
Fucking
yes,
liar.
the pilot came out on the goddamn intercom and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please, we have an emergency. There's a guy with
Piss coming from my ass.
Doo-doo, bud.
There is video of this in the aftermath. I'll put that in the chat, but I'll hold on to that until you're done discussing.
Oh,
show.net. There was a clip about this on No Agenda today. I can go grab real fast.
By the way, I just
yeah,
want to
you
say
should.
I do enjoy having these stories 2 or 3 days prior to them showing up in No Agenda. So
Oh,
Yes.
good. All right, let me finish off this
routinely,
article, and then
beat
we
them
can.
to it by a show or two. So.
Oh yeah, that's probably why you got kicked off,
Back
right?
when I was covering a bunch of jab and COVID stuff, I would be so proud every time I scooped No Agenda on clips.
Yep. Got him.
All right, so a Delta spokesperson, not a spokesman or woman, because it's a dude or a guy, confirmed with confirmed with Fox
Spokes
News
them.
Digital. There was no emergency landing because of the biohazard situation, but the flight did return to its original airport. Quote, Delta Flight 194 from Atlanta to Barcelona returned to Atlanta following an onboard medical issue. Our teams worked out as quickly and safely as possible to thoroughly clean the airplane and get our customers to their final destination. You don't say that on a plane, first of all. If you're on a plane, you don't say final destination. Everybody knows that. Anyway, we sincerely apologize to our customers for the delay and inconvenience to their travel.
Was this
plans.
person allowed to get back on the plane?
They corked them.
So it said there were 336 passengers that landed without further incident the following day, 8 hours and 6 minutes behind schedule. Those people
That's a
were
lot of
pissed.
shit.
Oh, they probably missed. If anyone had a connecting flight to another country, they missed it.
Oh yeah.
Why don't they disclose the person's name and maybe their address or Instagram handle?
Where they
Yeah,
live.
Yeah.
dox this fucker.
Steve
I feel like
Grabowski of Macon, Georgia.
I want to
Did they
say it
keep
was
it
Tom
gender neutral?
Shimabukuro.
Did they keep
There
it
was
gender
a-
neutral?
There
Or
was
did
a
it say
short,
man or a woman.
Yeah, what-
short
yeah.
8-second clip.
Negative. It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.
Where apparently they have toilet paper.
I love that headline. All the way through the airplane. So you can, especially for the audio listeners, imagine that in your head. Diarrhea all the way through the airplane.
Wait,
and
are
this
you-
is not a 737. This is an Airbus.
You
That's
can't
a
roll
big
down
plane.
the windows at all.
That was a lot of sushi.
I am
By the way,
tired of all these motherfucking snail trails on this motherfucking plane.
We refer to those as hot snakes.
Oh,
Was it?
We
so
call
the
them,
article kept it not the gender was undisclosed, right? Or am I mistaken?
did you say the ginger?
the gender.
The gender.
Oh,
So
I thought you were hating on gingers.
It was. I know. It was, as far as I could tell, it was a non-specific gender of a person, which makes me think it was a woman. Because if it was a dude, they definitely would have said this guy had diarrhea all over the airplane.
Oh, dude, if it was
But
a
if
The
it's
dude,
a
dude
woman,
would have
they're like,
owned
well,
it.
This person. Yeah.
Dude,
There'd
that
probably be
me?
video
I'm on
of him being
TikTok.
like, "Let me take a shit."
no, he would have had his own video of it and been
Yep.
fucking TikTok famous, just walking through the whole plane, just.
What up, fam? It's me, Poopmeister.
In 2
Pooping up
years, he's gonna
airplanes.
have a deal with Sony and like
Mhm.
a bunch of other shit. Who knows?
So you guys ready for the visual? Because this is
Yes.
this is what it was.
Yeah.
So there you
Is
go.
it raw?
It's on X, formerly known as Twitter. And there's video of this, of somebody walking down it's after its plane's land and everyone has evacuated their bowels, but evacuated the plane as well. They're going through and looking at the aftermath of this.
Oh,
Cretched, I
right.
hate to tell you this, but there's a difference between X and xvideos.com. So
Xvideos
You didn't
is
know that?
exclusively for Twitter. You just go to xvideos.com and look at all the Twitter videos.
Is there any
I'm gonna
sound on this video?
I don't know.
Well, we'll find out. Sorry, audio listeners. I'll clip it out if there isn't, but let's look at it.
There is, but it's just ambient. You can
Oh,
add some sounds
ew.
though.
Oh, wow.
They put paper towels down through one of the aisles
It
on
really,
the plane.
it really was all the way
That's
through
a
the
huge plane too. It's like a 323, like gigantic 797 or something.
Hey,
It's like a huge plane.
I give this guy props. Like,
Oh,
good for you,
fuck.
dude. Or ma'am, or guy.
Who knows?
I
They
just
just
wanna
need to
know,
let the
as,
seatbelt sign go sometimes.
as they were running down the aisle, were they quickly and beneath their breath saying, "Make it, make 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 it"? And
They were
100%.
holding their butthole for sure, and that's probably what
No,
made
it's
it
like
spray.
in Bridesmaids when the girl's like, "It's happening, it's happening, it's happening," and then
No,
she shits in the
If you're
street.
holding your hand down there, that makes it worse because it's like a hose when you put your thumb on the end of it. Like, you're not helping anything by doing that. It's coming out anyway. The pressure is there. It's spraying. You'd be
Yeah, you're
better
just
just to
changing
like
the trajectory.
drop trowel and just do it in one spot. Make cleanup fucking easier. What an asshole.
Yeah, like
I've
the
definitely
trash
had that
can.
phenomenon when I'm trying to hold in puke and I try to cover it with my mouth. It just sprays
Yeah,
all
same
over my
idea.
hair
And you can't run
eyes.
down a plane with your hand in your pants because
They'll think it's
whatever.
a bomb.
Yeah, 100%. They're pulling the bomb out of their ass. Everyone take cover.
I actually
Start
made a
an
joke
ass bomb.
about that. It was our local regional airport, not like Denver or something, but I actually made a joke to the TSA guy because he was talking about, oh, maybe it's your necklace or something. I'm like, oh, do you think it's the thing you can't say in airports? And he's like, no, you can say it. It just has to be under your breath. Bomb. And he actually said it. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. What a great
I'm
TSA
lucky
agent.
that we still got to board our flight that day.
I know. I didn't say it. He said
It's
it.
like, yeah.
I could sue him. Sue
He was, trying to,
everybody.
he was trying to get you to say it, and then you'd be on the list.
I found out later he knew my brother, and he probably saw my ID. I don't know if that's related, but he said bomb in an airport, a TSA
It's a
agent.
very small airport. It's the kind where there's no gate. The gate is wherever they roll the stairs out to get on the plane outside.
Yeah, it was not a.
like it's not a real airport.
I wouldn't even call it a gate. I'd call it more of a door.
They call it a gate. It's you're
Like the one
boarding
Lloyd
at gate
Christmas fell off
one.
of?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I do
dude,
like
let's.
those airports that are so small. They try to like. We're at gate 2. I'm like, there's a door. There's only 2 of them. I know where you're going. Why do you have to
Yeah,
fancy
and
it up?
There's a rope in front of it. Who are you stopping right now?
There's no 2
Terrorists.
gates at this airport unless there are 2 planes there and they have 2 sets of stairs they could wheel
And
out.
then
If
someone has to
I
go
had a
outside and
box
point at
cutter-
which plane you're going to.
Yeah.
If I had a box cutter, I'd get right past that rope and that lady that's 300 pounds standing there checking my ID. No problem.
Getting on that plane first, and I'm shitting up and down the aisle in there.
Oh.
I have a kind of unrelated question, but it might just be the area I live in. How many of you guys have where the majority of your friends and acquaintances have never been on an airplane? Because a lot of people I know have never been on an airplane.
I don't know anybody who hasn't.
I know a lot of
Oh,
people who
wow.
have flown. I've flown probably like 200 times in my life. And when I tell people how many times I've flown and like all of the crazy stories, they're like, wow, I've only flown like twice. And I think that's super weird because of my experience of just flying all the
I
time.
haven't flown a lot, but I don't really know anybody who has never flown.
Yeah, that's
I have
weird.
a bunch of friends that have well one of my friends is terrified of planes and snakes, so he's definitely not getting on an airplane.
So
I
he
have a
likes that
perfect
movie.
movie for him.
Yeah, but no,
Called
it's-
Hot Snakes
I-
on a Plane.
I would say it's 40 to 60%. I don't want to say it's even 50-50 split, but it's around half of the people that I know have never been on an airplane, have no desire to.
Because
I
they're
guess
scared? Is that
it's
the
just-
reason? Out of fear?
Or just it's like, why do I need to go anywhere? I got all the stuff I need right here in East Tennessee.
I actually
That's
agree
fine.
with that. I
That's
tell my
totally
kid
fair.
that all the time. I'm like, I don't like going places. I hate people and all my shit's in my house. Why do I need to leave?
This is where all my stuff is.
Yeah. Everything I need.
Every
including
time
my
we go
wiener.
somewhere, Joe's like, something terrible happens back where our house is. That just happened when we went to Denver. And he's like, this is why I never want to leave. And
I'm
like,
already
"Sorry."
an old curmudgeon and I'm fucking fine with it. I get those guys. I get why they're like that.
Also, to be fair, Chris, I am super afraid of flying, and I've flown more than most people I know. And every single time I got on the plane, I'm like, "Ooh, this might be the time." Like as soon as we
Might
take
be
off,
the one.
I know. So I look around at all of the other people on the plane that are casually reading newspapers or on their tablets now, because it's been years and years.
She
that
looks
I've
over
flown.
at me and I'm asleep.
I look over at, people who are sleeping, people who are just reading on their tablets, and the plane's like, and I'm just like, wow, they look super calm. Like, I think we're fine. This feels really weird, but I think we're all right. But I
never
get
used
that
to be
feeling.
scared of flying until it was like the third time I flew and I ate some pot brownies. And that just made the whole thing terrifying.
No,
Not a good idea.
No, I recommend shutting off your brain with alcohol if you're going to do anything.
Yeah, drinking is definitely the way to go. It traumatized me from flying forever because I had a pretty heavy piece of luggage suitcase that I was trying to put in the overhead compartment, and it fell on a person's head. Drag just dropped it right on their head. And then I had to sit next to them the whole flight.
What was in the luggage?
I apologize, probably 10
another
times.
person. What were you doing?
Bricks of
Say that
weed.
again.
What was in the luggage that made it so heavy?
Well, it's just it's one of those rolling luggage things. So
You're not going to tell us, are you?
I was a bunch of clothes and a Bluetooth speaker and laptop.
Oh, that could be it.
They didn't have to know it was yours, though. You could have just helped them, picked it up, and put it back in, and been like, "Oh man!"
Who's this asshole?
And then sat there and waited for them to deplane.
Yeah.
And then let everyone go past you and just be like, "Go ahead, it's cool." And then sheepishly take your luggage out later and just deplane last.
When you get out before them, off planing, you're like, "Oh."
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you don't have to.
I
see
would
them
have
anymore,
been
so.
less embarrassed if I had diarrhea up and down the entire cabin.
I'm gonna make
Really?
myself do that now just to show up on TikTok, but I'm gonna have my phone ready. And unlike this retard that didn't even have his phone going.
Yeah, come on, man. If you're gonna shit up,
If you're gonna go for it.
He couldn't. How is he going to hold his phone if he has his thumb in his ass?
Well, you have one hand for the
He's got two
thumb, one hand.
hands.
Yeah.
The other one was like move, waving people away, I think.
Oh no, I'm not waving people away. I'm like, check this out.
Bring it on. You get that.
little for you, little for you, little for you. See
Well,
if
you
can
guys,
make
let's
all the way
wrap
to
this
first
up.
class.
I know Chris has to work early. I actually have to work early. I have no idea if Cretched does. I don't really give a shit, but no, I'm just kidding. So obdmpod.com. Look, I can do your plugs for you unless you have anything else. Is there Cretched.com?
Factcheckgov.com.
Oh, right.
That's the site to go to.
That's a different site. Exactly. Yes.
You wanna
Boobury.
Do all your fact checks at factcheckgov.com.
Do it. Go there now. And sign up for Patreon, $1 a month. Boobury, what's your shit?
$1 a month. You can pay more.
We're over at badradio.live or behindtheschemes.com, SCH3M3S. We do a live show every Monday night, audio only, but we've been playing around with a lot of new Podcasted 2.0 features, so we're able to switch the chapters live on the fly. So we're showing all sorts of new art. I mean, shit, we had like 9 submissions I was just cycling through the other night. But we actually just started a new feed up. You can find it in only the Podcasting 2.0 apps because I turned on the block Spotify, block Apple, and block Amazon in our feed. But we started it's about an hour-long music pre-show called Before the Schemes, and it's all boostable music. It's like 95% of the sats that come in go directly to the artist. It's phenomenal. I could not be enjoying myself more.
You could.
That's super exciting.
Oh, dude,
I'm not going to help you with it.
Y'all, anytime y'all are ready to fuck around and find out, you know where to find me. I am ready. My body's ready.
Oh yeah, buddy. And Chris, last but not least, where can we find all your shit?
Myass.com. Shitmyass.com.
Oh shit! You fucked that up.
People are going to go to myass.com and have a whole different thing.
Don't go to pissmyass.com. That's a OBDM site.
Shitmyass.com. Shitmyass.com. Shitmyass.com.
Shitmyass.com.
Shitmyass.com.
A tremendous piece of shit.
I just like to know who is going to register hot snakes on a plane.com.
You've already done it, haven't you?
No, I've not.
You're full of shit.
You can go look it up now. I do not have that one. Of the
somebody grab it right now.
Dozens of domains, I do not have that one.
Does Bigfoot took my virginity.com? Does that still go to OBDM?
I might have let it lapse because no one ever used it.
Really? I'm
I know.
surprised by that. Like genuinely surprised by that. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thanks everybody on Rockfin and wherever the fuck else you listen. You know where to find us. You can find us at the places.